Today on the grid, it's Lens Day. We're going to be talking about all kinds of different kinds of lenses, our favorite lenses, your favorite lenses, and much more. Plus, we've got some cool giveaways. Erik, the real Rocket Man Kuna, is here. I think it's going to be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round and yet to find. He's not the man you think he is at home. Oh, no, no, no. He's a Rocket Man. All this and more in just 60 seconds.
The Grid is brought to you by Tamron. Check out their 28 to 75 millimeter f2.8 lens. It's for Sony full frame mirrorless. It's awesome. Go to tamron-usa.com. And Westcott. Check out their new Rapid Box Switch. It has 9 light modifiers and 13 quick swap light inserts. Check it out right now at fjwestcott.com.
And Profoto, the light shaping company. Check out the Profoto B1X. Power in all the right places. Go to profoto.com/US.
And Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Grid. My name is Scott Kelby. I'm joined by...
a bunch of lenses.
A bunch of lenses and Erik, the Rocket Man Kuna. How you
Hey,
doing, Mr.
everybody.
Kuna?
Hey, Scott. Long time no see.
Yeah, we've been around.
Yep.
And we're getting ready to leave. We are leaving tomorrow.
Yeah, big worldwide photo walk, right?
Worldwide Photo Walk
So,
is this Saturday. Yeah. So big stuff. And
if you're looking for something to do on Saturday and not signed up, just go to worldwidephotowalk.com. It's free.
It's free. You might make some new friends, and you'll definitely make some cool pictures.
It's awesome. I mean, it really is. I've been doing this for years. Well, we've all been doing this for years.
Yeah, this
right?
is the 11th year.
Yeah.
The 11th year of the Worldwide Photo Walk.
It's really cool. I've done them all over the place. Even had one down where I was in another country as well. And it's just really cool to see all over the world people walking together, taking pictures together.
And
really brings
supporting
the whole
world and supporting
together.
the Springs of Hope Orphanage in Nakuru, Kenya. So it's also for a good cause, and we want to thank our friends at Canon for sponsoring it and making it happen, because without Canon, there is no photo walk. It's just another Saturday.
Yes.
Who wants another Saturday? Nobody. You want a special Saturday. Anyway, we're glad to have you here. As you can tell, it's our lens show, and we're going to be talking about our favorite lenses, which lenses we use for what. It is one of the most asked questions that we get from people like Mark from Skegness. Like the way you just worked that in there.
Yeah, Mark, and then Patrick from
Or Marcus
Ireland.
from Germany, who cannot wait for his photo walk on Saturday.
All right, Marcus, can't wait.
Or Steve, who just says hello.
Hello, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
All right.
There's more to Steve than just hello, I feel.
And that's what, if you have any questions, this is also, we're going to answer any questions about lenses.
Questions.
So if you have any questions about what type of lenses for this, what type of lenses for that, what lenses you shot this or that, anything.
All that stuff.
All lenses.
All that stuff. All right,
And then John from Rochester, New York, former home of Kodak, is tuning in.
Isn't it current home of Kodak?
It is the current home as well. But
I think Kodak's still there, John.
It's a different company now.
It's a different company now. They make something. Anyway, so we want to talk about lenses. Can we jump right in?
Yeah, jump right in.
All right.
What's the best lens in the world?
Right here. This is it.
All right. Done.
Thanks for watching.
All right.
Okay, no.
No,
so
seriously.
They have certain lenses that I've fallen in love with over the years. Now, can you pass me the 11?
Yep.
All right. So this
11 to
this
24.
is an 11 to 24, and it is a marvelous lens. It is not an inexpensive lens. It's a very big and very heavy lens.
And when we're talking about these, we should qualify that these focal ranges across manufacturers are usually very similar. So
Right. So, for example,
I believe
if
the Nikon's is a 12 to 24.
Right.
Yep.
No. The Nikon
11
is a
to
14 to 24.
14 to 24.
The Nikon's a 14 to. Also, I had that 14 to 24 spectacular lens. So I used to shoot Nikon, and I had the 14 to 24.
Just disclaimer: the focal ranges. I mean, there's different
so,
ones. For
yeah. So
different
even though I'm holding a Canon camera, there are a lot of people. In fact, I'm gonna talk to you about another lens here in just a second. This is an 11-24. Now, at the time this came out, and I believe it's still the same. This was the widest full frame wide angle. At 11. So a guy had this on my workshop last week in Rome. So last week I was in Rome and had this workshop, and a guy a guy had this. And every time we're shooting something, we'd always look at his, and would always go, oh.
I want that.
Now, I took with me a 16 to 35, which I think is a great, great focal length. I think the 16 to 35 focal length is outstanding.
Right here.
Now, I want to tell you what I did. I have the Canon 16 to 35.
You have the f4.
I have the f2.8.
And the 2.8? Yeah.
And I bought the f4. The f4 is lighter, half the price, and it's an f4. Unless you're shooting in really low light situations. You know what this 16 to 35 is normally shot at? F11,
Yeah.
F16.
Yep.
So I saved about like $1,200,
Yeah, it's well the
something
difference.
like that, getting an F4. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was a lot of times people, I don't want to leave this topic, but a lot of times people, they're buying these super fast lenses, and I goes, oh, what are you shooting at f2.8? And they're like,
Nothing.
landscapes, travel. I'm like,
Why are you shooting at f2.8?
don't buy an f2.8 lens if you're shooting landscape and travel. You're going to be at f11 or f16 or something like that. So anyway, so I had this almost everybody on my workshop had this lens, the 16 to 35. It was like the
like
most
the
popular.
Workhorse.
This one guy, Mark, a very good photographer, really knew his stuff, had this 11. It's twice the weight. It's 3 times the cost. But let me tell you what, like we bought one of those passes. I got all of my students the pass to get into the Vatican Museum an hour early, before the public. We went straight in, went to the gift shop, and shot the stairway. I will show you the stairway that we shot. One moment, please, and I'm not even on the right thing, so hold on. Wait one moment, don't move, don't breathe, don't make a sound. I will tell you the moment at which I'm actually on the right place doing the right thing, which is not quite yet. And this was the shot we went in for. Okay, here it is. See if you can see that on there. Okay, so this is the staircase at the gift shop as you were leaving the Vatican, which just tells you one thing. The Vatican gift shop sells a lot of stuff. They make a lot of money.
Look at that stairway.
Look at that stairway. So every time you
think
see
there's
this
another
picture,
reason.
go to Google and search for Vatican. You'll find 5,000 shots of this packed full of people. Because the Vatican Museum is one of the most visited places in the world. And there's always 50 people on the staircase. But if you go there before the public goes in, no one's leaving. This is at the end of the tour.
So
we
you go
went there
right
first.
there.
We went there
Yeah,
first.
you
But
bolt
look
to
at this
that location.
And then you know what else we did? We went to the bottom and
love
shot
that.
going back up.
I love that shot.
So that's the
So
same
cool.
staircase shot from down on the ground. I told my students, let's go down there and we'll shoot going back up.
Hypnotizing.
It is hypnotizing. Thank you very much. Anyway, I have this one that looks pretty good. If you see it with that guy's Mark's 11.
11, yeah.
Oh, it takes on a,
Like up a notch.
right. It is 3 times the money and 3 times the weight. Now, if you want to buy something a little cheaper, this one just came out. I haven't even had a chance to shoot it until tomorrow. This it's a super wide angle. This is the Tamron 15 to 30. It is an f2.8, which means
A little
heavy
hefty.
and expensive, not as heavy, not as expensive, not quite as wide. I'll have a full review of this, or a field report anyway. I don't do reviews, I do field reports. I'm taking this with me to Innsbruck, and we'll know how this goes. I have high hopes for it. I got a feeling it's going to be really sharp and a great value for the money, which is a very
It's an
typical
awesome
Tamron
lens.
thing.
I've been shooting with the original
Now, you
one
have the
of those.
original one.
Original one of those, and it's great. And I
This is the
actually
brand new one.
I call this the Rami Kazami lens because Rami, who shoots the landscape photography, was in our gallery. When I shot
Yeah.
with him, that was primarily what he shot.
So the guy that just won our gallery competition,
Primarily
just
shot
had
with
the
that.
primarily shot with this Tamron.
15 to 30.
So I'm excited to see what it does. This is their version 2 of it. But there is another thing that you might consider. It's not cheap. It's a fairly expensive lens. But it's because I really think, and this is going to be my soapbox moment for this one. I really think everybody needs an ultra wide for full frame. You need an ultra wide because there is something you get. I don't mean 24. Is 24 wide, Eric?
No, not at all.
No,
not even
24
close.
isn't even close.
16 is like
The 24 is like
just
your
on the edge.
iPhone. It's like
16 is on the edge.
16 is like,
On the edge.
I would say it's wide angle. That's a good wide
wide.
angle.
but you want to go to that 15. You want to go to that 14. And that 14
That's
is where
why
that sweet spot.
rising up above.
That's the magic lens.
The 14 millimeter prime. It's not nearly as heavy. Ugh. It's quite expensive.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's, what is it, an f4? Is it, no, it's an f2.8. So this is a Canon 14 millimeter f2.8. Super sharp. You can't put regular filters on it because it has the bubble. So you see it's rounded? It's got the rounded bubble. When you get super wide like this, you're going to get the rounded bubble. That is an advantage of the 16, is that it doesn't have the bubble, and you can use screw-on filters.
Now, does this does have the place in the back to put a slide-in.
Yeah, it has a slide-in gel. Yeah.
And
Or
the
a
other thing is with the new
filter.
EOS R, you can buy that one that has the ND adapter.
Right, but
which
that's,
would be cool.
That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother topic.
All right.
Yeah.
But with the 14, you have to get some kind of a bracket to use.
That's a
right?
$2,000 lens, though.
This is a $2,000 lens.
Prime.
It is right. How much is the 16 to 35? Can you look that up? So the 16 to 35. This is the one everybody should have. Tamron makes it.
Yeah.
So does Canon. And you can get this for Nikon, because I had the 16 to 35 for Nikon. You can also get it for Canon. F4. Give me the F4.
You want the F4 price?
F4. Yeah.
$1,099.
$1,099. That's not bad for a good quality lens. Very sharp.
That is
sharper than the
Workhorse.
old. So I had the old f2.8 16 to 35. This is sharper than the old f2.8, but the new f2.8 was pretty expensive. All right, Alan Potts says, Scott, you can have the 14 millimeter, please, and can I have the black and white one in the middle? Alan, I can't give you that one. That's
a special lens.
That's a very special lens. We'll talk about it
That is my go-to
a little
rocket
later.
photography distance lens.
That's his go-to rocket photography distance lens.
Yes.
I use it for daytime sports, but we will talk about that.
Yes,
for sure.
But there is one comment from Joseph. He's talking about, for the longest time, my favorite was a 19 to 55. I believe he's talking about a
crop
sensor. Now he says it's the 8 to 16 ultra wide.
Wait a minute, a 19 to 55? It's got to be an 18
I think it's 18 to 55.
Yeah.
It's probably just
I've never heard of a 19 millimeter lens.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with the crop sensor. You're at 8 to 16.
That's
so
more like a 14 or...
It'd be like about it'd be 8 times 1.6, right? So
whatever that math would be.
is with that math thing.
Brian Long says, I have that Tamron and I love it. So how does the Rokinon 14 millimeter compare with a Canon? I have no idea. You ever used a Rokinon lens?
Never.
I don't even think it's I think it's Rokinon.
I have seen some guys use the Rokinon for shooting, like with the stuff I use with rockets, and I mean, it looks great. I mean, it definitely, the Canon is better, you know. I mean, it just matters on the quality. Like that equivalent on that was about 13 millimeters.
Oh, that's not bad. That's wide.
I mean, that's wide. And that's what he's saying.
wide.
That is ultra wide. When you get to 13 millimeters,
All right.
you're ultra wide.
So I'm going to put my must-have lenses over on this side, and I'm going to go first with the 16 to 35, as every photographer should own a 16 to 35. This is going to go in on the left side of the table. Left side.
That's like the workhorse. That's like,
if
you're shooting anything wide.
See, I was going to take this to Innsbruck, but now that I got this Tamron 15 to 30.
It's a cool focal length because you get that extra 1 millimeter, which you don't think's big, but
You
at
don't
that
think
low end,
at that low end, it's
what is
big.
it, like 15% more? It's like,
Right.
boom.
So I don't know. I have to pack tonight, so I'm going to have to make that decision.
It's going to be hard decisions.
All right. All right. Hey, we're going to have to take a break in a minute. I do want to mention a couple of things that are important. I have some news. I have some big news. So we're going to give away a Platypod Ultra here today on the show. We always do that. We have one back over here. Let me see if I can reach it behind this lens. Can you reach it? Or just move the lens?
Here, I got it.
I'm almost there.
Yeah.
All right. Is there
There
one
it
in
is.
here?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. We're going to give away a Platypod Ultra, which I used to... You have to bust it open. I used extensively on my trip to Rome. I would literally put it on the floor. I would put it on railings. I would put it on bridge embankments. I put that Platypod everywhere. Do you know that almost everyone but 3 people on my whole workshop, I had 12 people on my workshop, 9 of them had Platypods.
They're coming out a lot more.
But here's what I want to tell you. Not only are we giving one away today, here's the Platypod. This is the Ultra, the very slim, awesome one, right? It's okay. It's made of aircraft aluminum. Anyway, do we have a ball head?
No.
All right. So anyway, ball head attaches on here. Your camera attaches on there. Bang, it's money. I had it in my pocket. I would walk into places. By the way, completely forbidden to use it like in...
Well, that's most of the shots you just shown. You could not get because you can't put a tripod anywhere.
No, but you can put the... I was shooting with these in St. Peter's Basilica all day long. Nobody said a word. But listen, I have big news. Ready? You can now get these in the UK.
Oh, yes, big news.
If you go to amazon.co.uk, they now have them in stock for Prime. Amazon Prime, it's Prime delivery.
Wow.
Free shipping, instantaneous, the whole 9 yards.
Get it for the photo walk.
Get it for the photo walk. I will have mine with me for my photo walk, but just get one anyway.
4.
But they finally have them now. Amazon.co.uk. There's a distributor over there. You can get them. That's pretty big news.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know people have been waiting a long time for them to be available easily in the UK, but they're not just on Amazon, which I know that you love. Drink up.
Yep, drink up.
Amazon. But it's on Prime as well.
And on that note, we got to take a break.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go through some more lenses.
Talking about lenses. So
we have one over here, but I need to talk about accessories.
Any questions about lenses, any accessories with lenses, just ask a question. We'll put it in the chat, and we'll answer your questions.
Bada bing.
Bada boom.
When you need a tripod that is compact, that is portable enough to take with you anywhere, one that is adaptable to any situation, that will prove versatile enough for any shoot, and is compatible with your other gear, giving you freedom to create your own perspective. Look no further. Platypod Ultra does it all. Visit platypod.com for more info.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
And one.
Hey, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Mr. Erik Kuna.
Hey.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hey, so we got a question. Instead of the 16 to 35, Joe asked, how about the 17 to 40L?
Well, I would say if you have a 17 to 40L, I wouldn't go buy a 16 to 35.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only difference, like we look at, is the cost. I mean, it is, you know, the 16 to 35 4 versus the 17 to 44. You're talking $300.
So it's $300 cheaper for the 17 to 40?
Really, I think would matter is how wide do you want to go? Because that extra 1 millimeter, if you didn't have either lens, that extra 1 millimeter is important.
Yeah,
on the low end.
Right, if you didn't
the
have
extra
one.
5 on the top is not as big of a deal.
All right, what do we shoot with this 16 to 35? Well, here's what we shoot. We can shoot travel with it. I use this for interiors, for churches, opera houses, things like that. It is a 77 millimeter, so it's a very common size for using filters. Now, can we talk about filters for 1 second,
Yeah,
since I brought it
absolutely.
up? All right, so I've been using this Haida. I use this Haida set of ND filters, and they are absolutely glorious. However, there is one little hitch. It takes 4 steps to use this. Step 1 is you open the bag and you get out the step-down filter. So it comes with, I had to buy a step-down filter, 277 right here. This ring. This ring then attaches on the end of your,
Yeah, that'll help.
there's another step.
Yep.
It attaches to the end. Here we go. Doing a beautiful job of your lens. Then
you have to attach.
you have to attach this to that.
Which is the holder for the glass.
Right, and you pull out, there's a little thing you pull out over here and it just slips right on there, and it actually works pretty well.
Other side.
It's better.
Or no,
No,
you're right.
not the right side. It's better when it's on your camera because you don't have to hold the lens while you're doing this because it's on your tripod or on your camera or whatever. Or you can ask a friend to help you there.
I got that.
Now, while he's doing that, you need the third thing. You have to go into and carry a separate container, and you pull it out, and here is a fabulous made of real glass lens that the filter that slides in.
And it slides right
top.
in.
And it's designed to where you can stack them. So you could put a 10 and then a 3 or a
that
10 and a
slides in.
5 or whatever you want. So it works
that's what you
perfectly, and it works with the 16 where this would not work with like the 14, right? Because it doesn't have anything to screw onto. That being said, here's what I ordered this week because I'm loose with money. No, it was a deal. I ordered this. This is the Haida. It's a 10-stop screw-on, ultra thin, and it's one step. Just screw it on, and it was like 70 bucks. That's hard to beat. Now, I haven't tried it yet. I'm only taking this with me to Innsbruck. I took the whole big rig with me to Rome last week. But after taking it on and putting it off and taking it on and putting it off for travel, where you're like setting up and you're shooting and you're moving and setting up and shooting. When you're doing landscape, that one's great.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of there for a half an hour in one location. But when you're doing travel, I'm thinking this thing. Look how thin this thing is. It is ridiculously thin. Let me open it. Let's see if I can figure out how to open it.
Here you go.
I'll just pass it to Eric. Eric, help me. I got a broken wing.
There you go.
Look how thin this is. Can you see how thin it is? It's like
It's
ultra
way
thin.
thinner than it looks even on camera.
Yeah, it is like, it's a 1/4 inch.
You know what they say about the camera?
What do they say about the camera?
I don't know.
Anyway, so that's my accessory for it. So, and so this 16 to 35,
What I do with the Haida filters, I just leave it on my 16 to 35. I just take the glass off, but I leave the whole contraption
but the
on there.
container,
You're gonna have to fight with that container more than anything.
small, lightweight, it weighs nothing. It'll almost float out of your hands. Watch. Anyway, so now I got the 16 to 35 over here. I'm only taking that one thing, and I'm taking a Platypod right there. Platy. I say Platy, you say pod. Okay.
Pod.
So that is my first choice. 16 to
Yep.
35, go. What do you got?
Well, I think with me, like I said, I think, the one thing about lenses is, picking the right lens for what you're trying to shoot. That's on the wide end. You start getting to the tight end, and you're going to step up to these white lenses, right? So that's where you're going to start getting into the white stuff. When you want, and obviously Canon and Nikon has their own lenses, but when you want to get close to a subject, you're going to be using either some kind of super telephoto or like a medium telephoto, mid-range telephoto in the 70 to 200. That 70-200 is probably, again, you're going to go 16-35. 70-200 is kind of the other workhorse lens.
So this would be the other lens that I take with me.
This is the workhorse.
Now, this particular last week, I took this to Rome. I never even took it out of the safe in my room. It just stayed in there. But this is my go-to lens. I photograph people with this. If I had to be on a desert island, this is
great compression.
In legendary sharpness. So Nikon makes a very, very good 70-200. There's a Sony version. There's a Nikon, Canon. All versions. Tamron makes one. I shot the Tamron was quite good. The Tamron 70-200 is quite good. So
they're all in that range with that focal range. They're all very good lenses.
I will tell you this: if you're not shooting people outdoors as your main gig, you can get. This is the 2.8, and it's expensive and it's heavy. How about if you could get this same 70-200 at half the cost and half the weight? Go get the extremely sharp 70-200 f4. Half the cost.
It just matters what you're shooting.
Half the weight, and you're only going to lose the difference between f2.8 and f4.
Yes.
All right.
For most instances, you don't need the 2.8.
Now, let's talk sports. If you're going to shoot sports, you're going to need the 2.8. Here's why. You're going to need to put a 1.4 tele extender on here to get you to 280 millimeter equivalent.
The 2X here.
Don't use the 2X.
I know.
The
That's
2X, you lose two stops.
We got a 1.4 built into that one.
Yeah. So you want a 1.4 tele extender, which will get you to equivalent of 280 millimeters. At 280, it's perfect for shooting hockey, perfect for shooting basketball, and it's perfect for shooting football if you don't mind running up and down the sidelines a bit. 280 is not close enough to shoot pro football. High school football, when you can get a little bit closer and you don't mind jogging a little bit, you can go with this one. But I'm moving this over to my must-have lenses right over here. But
there is another option at that is if you're just doing it for travel and you're wanting a more compact. There's things like the Tamron.
Oh, that's a whole nother category,
right? Yeah.
Don't leave the 70-200 the awesomeness that it is.
The 70-200 is awesome.
Wait, what about this? What? Oh, so
yeah.
this is a screw-on lens hood that I leave on my camera. It pops out like this. Now, this one I found on eBay because someone stole mine at a game at the national championship, college football national champion last year. Somebody stole this off of my camera because they're so awesome. This is a Mamiya. I bought it for like $35 or $40 on eBay, and it screws perfectly on to a 70-200. And let me tell you, it is the boss. Number one, it's rubber. Number two, it protects your lens. And number three, what I love about it is, watch, it's collapsible.
That is really cool.
So it pops out and pops in. And so that way it's easy to pack in your camera bag. You can put your lens cap right over the front of it. So now look at this duo I have here. I've got two really awesome lenses. I have an f4 16-35, and honestly, if I don't own I've used it. I actually borrowed it. I don't own the 70-200 f4. But I would take the 70-200 f4 instead of this f2.8 simply because it's not smaller. It's about the same size, but it weighs a lot less.
All right, so we hit those two main lenses. We have to take a break, but when we come back, we got a bunch of questions, and then we'll go on to some other lenses.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. That sounds good.
So we'll be right back. And,
good plan.
Just a few minutes, again, on the grid.
Can you help me take off this lens cap? It's too hard.
I got it.
Thanks. Okay, thanks.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version, too. So sign up today.
Hey, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Mr. Erik Kuna.
Hey.
Do want to mention, we mentioned the Worldwide Photo Walk, but check this out. Adobe is hosting a special walk as part of the Worldwide Photo Walk. They're one of the sponsors. They're giving away some of the great prizes. They're doing a special photo walk in San Francisco's Union Square. Check this out, for mobile photographers. So if the iPhone or an Android phone is your camera, they're doing a special photo walk for mobile photographers and people who want to edit on mobile photography. Yeah. That'll be cool. So go to worldwidephotoWalk.com, look for San Francisco Union Square. It's the Adobe Mobile Photo Walk.
Very cool.
Isn't that cool?
Well, yeah, we got a bunch of questions coming in. We got to get through some questions here, and then we're going to get back to we're going to talk next about travel lenses.
Yep, travel's coming up next.
So, Kathy Robbins asking, is it easy to use the Platypod for flashes or strobes?
Absolutely. So, Kathy, what you would need is. Wait, does it come with an adapter? It comes with an adapter.
It does.
To use.
Well,
it
no,
actually
it comes in the multi-accessory.
Yeah, if you get the multi-accessory kit, it comes with a little thing. There it is. So this is an add-on you can get.
Yes.
And it has a little thing to let you hold a hot shoe flash. So it works perfectly with it. You're going to use a ball head, and there is the little adapter that screws on there to be able to put a flash on there. So there you go.
Cool.
Not a problem. You can put a little flash.
So I got to read around the jib here. So if you are a hybrid shooter, Cedric's asking, can you recommend one good lens that you can use for both video and stills if possible?
Cedric, I can't answer that because I'm not a hybrid shooter.
I can tell you, I mean, with shooting video, it matters if you're having a crop factor.
You know, Juan would know this.
Yeah, if
Juan's
you're
a
having
hybrid shooter.
If you're having a crop factor, that is a determination with video. Because if you crop in or have a crop factor, like say you're shooting with something that goes, when you're shooting video from a full frame, it might crop into like 1.3 or 1.6 times. Yeah. But most people would, you know, in a 24 to 70, 24 to 105, those tend to be really good on that.
Yeah, that's a good range.
Because that's a good range for video.
Yeah, now he knows because he used to run our video operation, so he knows.
I mean, 7200.
Juan likes 70 to 200, right? Juan likes. Juan just cruised in with a 70 to 200. Yeah. He likes that for hybrid photography.
I mean, I will say most of the times I see us shooting. Oh, I will tell you this: we usually shoot with primes. We usually shoot with primes because they're just better glass, right? But 24 to 70, usually, right? 24 to 70 and 7200.
I think that primes are better is kind of an outdated thing. I think there was a time where primes were dramatically better than zooms. I don't think you could tell the difference today between today's quality zooms and primes.
I should maybe qualify that.
Okay.
Prime lenses that are built for video, that are declicked and all that stuff.
Oh, that might
totally
be.
different.
Yeah, if you buy like a cinema lens or something.
I'm totally talking about totally different things.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like if you're going to shoot video, there's no reason you should be like, oh, I need a 35 prime versus a 24 to 70. Right. Like a 24 to 70 is going to be just fine.
Catherine has a good question. She wants to know what is recommended for landscapes. So, Catherine, this is interesting. You don't want to go too wide with a landscape because wide pushes things away. And that's why, like, when you could put something very close to your foreground or shoot in a small area, a wide lens makes it look epic. But if you're actually at an epic location, a wide lens pushes the epicness further away from you. So a mountain that would be huge, it makes the mountain very small. Yeah. So I think a really good focal range for landscapes is straight up 24. Now, you can just buy a 24 prime, but you could do a 16 to 35, which will get you all the way from 24 to 35. So you could use a 16 to 35, which will be more valuable to you than I think a 24 to 70. I wouldn't tell you, Catherine, to go get a 24 to 70 for landscapes because you're always going to want to go pretty wide. You're not going to go, ooh, you know what I want for my landscape? 50. you're really going to want something wider. So
my short answer would be a 16 to 35.
A 16 to 35 will get you from super wide to 35, which is good for landscape.
The general,
24 is good.
Workhorse.
And you can get screw-on lenses for polarizing, screw-on lenses for NDs and stuff like that.
16 to 35 f4, like you have over there, that's the Workhorse.
That's
like
it. Go get that 16 to 35 f4 landscapes. Save the money.
If you're landscape, f4.
F4.
Yeah. So Joseph's saying he loves my Platypod because he has trouble getting down on his knees. And yeah, I mean, that's a big reason for getting a Platypod.
Absolutely.
And then Rye's asking, do you make lens adapters to your shoot?
Do you make lenses adapt to your shoot?
Oh, lenses adapt to your shoot. Or do you adapt yourself and change lenses accordingly to the shoot?
I change lenses according to what I'm standing in front of. So if I stand in front of something and I realize, wow, this would look better wider, then I change lenses. So what I do is I wear a single body. I have a class on this, by the way. There's a class that I did on travel photography called
How to Travel Right.
How to Travel Right. And so I talk about what to take when you're going to go big and what you take when you want to go really low. I take basically one lens on the body, one lens in the bag, and my Platypod's in the bag, and my accessories are in the bag. And it's a little tiny bag. It's a little tiny, very small think tank bag.
So what two lenses are in that bag? Or what two lenses are in your camera, or like your camera bag and on your camera?
The 70-200 is going to be in my bag, even though it's heavy, but because I don't have the f4, I should probably get the f4.
Right.
And then the 16 to 35 is going to be on the camera. Now, I'm going to be taking this big Tamron with me, which I'm excited about trying, the 15 to 30. So if you see me with that, don't go, but I thought you said you were going to, So I will probably take this with me. However, I would have to come up with a different thing for long exposures because it has the big bulb end and no way to screw on a...
Yeah, you would need
I need a different bracket.
You would need a different bracket that mounts the lens and then does like a 105.
So I might be taking more lenses than I'd planned normally, but I'll be walking around one way or another with just two lenses.
So talking about travel.
Let's go to travel,
For travel. I think this is probably your workhorse lens for travel right here.
Hands down, 28 to 300.
Yep.
Now, Nikon makes a 28 to 300 that I've mentioned many times before.
It's like the golden lens.
It's the golden lens because it's around, how much? Can you go look how much it is? It's a 28 to 300 Nikon. It is sharp as a tack. It's what Jay Maisel uses. And you always have the right lens on when you have that lens. It's 28 to 300.
It's super
The only
sharp,
thing that would make it better is if it was a 24 to 300. However, Canon does not make a good, not make a reasonable travel lens at 28 to 300. So I use the Tamron. I've been using this one for years. They have a brand new Tamron, and it is a, what is it, 3.5 to 5.6, something like that?
3.5 to 6.3, I believe.
Tamron. How much is
so that one is $946.95 for the Nikon one that we're talking about.
Okay, yeah, for the Nikon. So it's under $1,000 for the Nikon. How much is the Tamron?
Is $599.
$599.
That is like the
$599.
That's the travel lens. That's a good travel focal length.
It's I believe it's 1.2 pounds. It's very light. And when I was in Rome so the first time I went to Rome, I had this lens and loved it. And you did that I had to borrow this from one of my students. One of my students had a 28 to 300, and I borrowed it twice, and I love the shots I got with it. So
yeah, the Canon is $2,449.
It's also so old-fashioned that it is a push-pull lens. It doesn't even turn to zoom. It's a very outdated lens. Every time I'm at Canon's headquarters, by the way, and we sit down at a meeting, I go, before we start, where the hell is your 28 to 300 at a reasonable, and they're like, So I don't see it coming out anytime soon. I would love it if they did. They could surprise me. They don't tell me.
So if not the 28 to 300, what about the 24 to 105?
See, the 24 to 105 is nice, and I've been using that quite a bit lately.
Right.
Because that was the one that came with my EOS Rs, the 24 to 105.
Yeah, the new R lens that they have out is the 24 to 105.
It's really a nice lens. Now, that lens in particular is super sharp, super nice. 105 is a little short for me.
Yeah, you feel like I'd always want to go a little farther, a little farther.
Yeah, a 24 to 140, 24 to 160.
Or just the 28 to 300.
How about Yeah, or the 28 to 300. But let me tell you what, the sharpness of that 24 to 105 is legendary.
it
It's
is.
Another one of those crazy
Especially
lenses.
that new R lens. The new R lens is crazy.
Michael says if you could take one lens, which would you take? I would take the 28 to 300. 28 to 300 is that one lens that does everything. So
Yeah.
I do really like that.
Would you even, I'm just dreaming here, right?
Yeah.
Dreaming. Would you even sacrifice a little bit off the top end to go down to 24? So it'd be like 24 to like 250, 260?
Yes, and here's why.
I think I would too.
I can't make a lens go any wider than it will go.
I'm dreaming here.
No,
Totally dreaming.
listen. I can't make a lens go wider. So if I'm at 28, I can't make it go to 24. However, if I'm at 240, 260, I can crop it in to get to 300. I can crop it in to get to 400.
That's my dream lens.
I'm
would
shooting a
be
30 megapixel camera.
A dream lens would be a 24 to like 250 something, 240.
250 would be good.
Whatever they could make it in, if it could be around
Yeah.
250.
But
24
see,
to 250.
all of these lenses are 28 and up. If you could do 24 and long,
Oh, it'd be awesome.
I would rather have a 24 to 240 or
2040.
260 or 250.
Would you go down to 220? Let's start negotiating.
No.
Okay, it's got to be 240.
Yes.
So that's our breaking point. 24
Well, think
to
about
240.
it. This is a 70 to 200. What if I could go 24 to 200? I'd still do that. But I would have to have a lighter lens. This is quite a heavy lens.
All right.
And
So
you know what?
anyways,
The older you get, the more you start going, I need a light lens. I can't carry this thing.
That's
It's
at the end
heavy.
of the day. There is kind of like that. There's no perfect
What
scenario.
does it mean when you see the words "time to break" moving around the screen like that?
I think that means we
That's
should
like,
probably
is it
take
more
a break.
serious? It's like
Yeah.
a serious level of break.
It's like that's our serious. If it's moving.
Yeah, if it's moving, you know you're all right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take more questions, talk about more lenses. We got to still uncork a few more lenses and some accessories here. So stick around. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Scott Kelby here with Mr. Larry Becker.
And I'm here because we have an awesome new class for you, all about travel photography, but not what you think.
Right, it's about traveling right and making sure you have the things that you need, that you get where you got to go, and we cover a whole bunch of stuff that'll really make your photo trips much, much better.
Things like, which bag should you carry? If you go big, what do you add into the bag?
Right, and if you go light and you're going to be with your family, you don't want to carry that much gear, what's the solution there? I'm going to show you exactly how to pack it, what I do to make the most of these trips. And I also break down all the gear that I use. I'm going to take you camera bodies, lenses, the whole 9 yards, and a bunch of little accessories you're going to want to know about. At the end of the shoot, at the end of the day, what's your backup strategy? How do you protect your images when you get back to your hotel room at night?
And then we're going to talk about what you do when you get home with your images.
The class is called The Photographer's Guide to Traveling Right.
And it's exclusively on KelbyOne.
The biggest thing that I enjoy about headshot photography is probably dealing with faces. My kind of go-to setup for headshots is definitely the clamshell. It's going to cast a really beautiful light onto your subject, and having the right gear to do that is incredibly important. True art behind capturing professional poses is creating visual lines to bring the viewer's eye up to the face of the person in the photograph. Natural retouching is a big proponent to doing corporate headshots. They're not expecting a lot of retouching. What they would like is to look like a well-rested version of themselves. And that can be done very easily by just keeping the retouching natural and not going overboard. Hey guys, Christy from Shark Pixel here. I want you to come check out my new latest class all about corporate headshots and corporate retouching, only on KelbyOne.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
That's it.
Hey, everybody. Scott and Eric here. Joseph says, I started using Sigma after I dropped my Canon, and I couldn't replace the lens and body. So B&H sent me the Sigma to try it. I ended up keeping it and loved it. There you go. We never get to try any Sigma lenses because Sigma hates us. Anyway, we never know. People ask us about Sigma. We're like,
wow. I just were airing everything now, huh?
yeah. Anyway, it's because Sigma hates us. I don't even know why. Well, I know why, but it was nothing.
Well,
we did.
Nick is looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the 15 to 30, though. Tamron.
Why, Nick, I happen to have one right here. This one actually had to come over from Europe. They don't have this exact one in the U.S. yet, but it will be here shortly. Couple more things we wanted to talk about. Oh, I do want to mention something.
Yes.
So I'm going to give myself a plug here. So I sell my prints online through a gallery called Yellow Corner. YELLOKORNER. And you can buy them in various sizes, but there's a limited number of prints. So for each image, and these are, see, maybe Eric will pull it up here. There it is, Yellow Corner. And if you search for me, there's Yellow Corner, so it's KORNER. This is a series of like 83 galleries around the world, but there's also, you can also buy them online, and they are limited editions. They print a certain number of them, and then we're done. And so they have it in different sizes, and I've got 4 prints of mine that are up there, and 2 of them, there's only 3 left. So take a look right there. And these are all shot with some of these are shot with the 11, that 11 to 24 over there. I think a couple of these are. There's the Paris Opera House. There's the roof of St. Peter's Basilica. There's the Royal Albert Hall, the rocking venue where I saw Eric Clapton. I got special permission to shoot there. And then the State Theater in Australia. So those 4 prints, and I think 2 of them say there's only like 3 left. But anyway, if you would like a print, I would love it if you went to Yellow Corner. If you do get one, please let me know so I can thank you. Just drop me a note over on my blog or something. That would be awesome. Okay.
Very cool. Well, hey, one thing we have not talked about when we talked ultra wide, we didn't talk like ultra crazy wide, and that is a fisheye.
Oh my gosh! Hold on. Let me pull. Right. I got a thing to show you on the fish. Give me 1 second here to pull up some stuff.
So when you start getting a fisheye, you start getting like that 8mm, 9mm, 10mm.
No, I'm really shooting at the 15. The 8 gives you a round circle.
Yes.
Which, while it looks
crazy,
somewhat cool, it's too wide. Let me look. I think I have a thing I can show you.
If you push past, what is it? If you push past
11 or 12, I think it is.
Yeah, somewhere in there. And actually, you can limit the lens. Yeah, if you go past 10, you're going to get everything. All
right, let me show you some fish.
There you go.
All right, so this is the 8 to 15 fisheye zoom. I usually shoot it at 15. I did not realize this, that at 15 it's regular, and then you go to 10 or 12 and it doesn't have the round circle in it, and then 8 you get a round circle, and I didn't know that. Somebody was telling me about it, but this is the kind of stuff you get. So when you have a fish, it's so wide that you often have to move your foot out of the way, or your foot will get in the shot. It is super wide. I love when you put something. So see this image? Look in the back right corner. In the back right corner, there is a spiral staircase. I walked back there, and then here's that same spiral staircase. I love what a fish does when something's in your foreground. It really makes it interesting. Here for travel, I think it's awesome. This is taken from the top of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Here is that image you just saw that I'm selling prints of, the Paris Opera House. That is with a 15mm. And this is the Cowboy Stadium. These are the first pictures taken when they converted to AT&T Stadium. And so they allowed me to come in between games and shoot it. And I had to give them the images as part of the deal. But so there you go. There's a little bit of
so it's definitely a different look. It's starting to go way wide. You're starting to get a little more distortion.
Right, but
it can be used to your advantage.
One of the things that you have to remember about super wide angles or fisheyes is this. When you shoot it straight on to an object, it looks one way. If you tilt up or tilt back, you get the tons of distortion. You can use that to your advantage. It can look really cool. I like when things look very big and giant and all. And a lot of people that are really into architecture will say, "Oh, well, your columns are leaning out," and I'm like, I love it.
It's a look.
And they're like, yeah, that's a travel look where I'm shooting for travel. Yeah. Give me a second and I'll show you what I mean.
You're going to do architecture, you're going to get into things like tilt shifts and stuff like that, where you're starting to basically take that distortion out and making it exactly
I love that distortion.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find some. I don't know if I have any here. I might not have any to show you. I thought I had some here, but I think when you're trying to get that look, it's cool, and when you're not trying to, it's not cool. But that doesn't mean that there's a right way or a wrong way, although some people would like you to think that, Like, for example, look at this image. Now, in reality, do you think those columns on the left and right are leaning like that, or do you think they're straight up? They're straight up. But I shot it that way, and I love the way it looks. I can certainly correct it. You don't think I know how to correct it?
It leads you into the scene.
It's just kind of I love the way it looks.
The scene. It's using the lines. I mean, it's
right.
It's cool.
Right, and I like that look. And so people every once in a while, somebody will come on my Facebook page and go, Mr. Kelby, why didn't you fix the, thing? And I'll be like, I didn't want to.
Well, sometimes you don't want to because
I know
you want
how to fix it, but it's a certain look. So anyway, but keep that in mind when you're shooting a super wide angle lens. That's going to happen. Hey, Bill says I purchased the 11 to 24, which is this bad boy over here. It's very heavy. Yes, it is, and somewhat hard to shoot. Is there a secret to this thing? The secret is put it on a tripod to where it doesn't matter how heavy it is. But there's no real secret to it. It's super wide. It's really. The secret is shooting things that are appropriate to be shot super wide, right? The other thing is shoot down low. When you shoot down low with that 11, it's unbelievable. And
a prominent foreground element.
Something in the foreground, or you're in a tight area and you want it to look really, really just epically large. I'm going to show you a shot. Give me one sec.
Question here real quick. How about fisheye for concerts? What do you think about that?
I think fisheyes are great for 1 or 2 shots because it's like anything else. If you see too much of it, you're like, oh God, enough with the fisheye. Like 1 or 2 shots with a fisheye is like, wow, that's cool. And then by the 3rd one, you're like, okay, that's enough. And by 4th, no more fisheye.
Right.
I make the joke. Lens. I make the joke. Exactly. Yeah. I make the joke. It's good for 2 shots. Yeah. So I'm gonna show you.
So unlike these workhorses over here, where you have like 16 to 35, 7200, the fisheye would be more something that's specialty. It's something you're gonna use you're not gonna use as often.
Right, you're not. Yeah. You're gonna pull it out for you want a particular look. Let me just show you an image, if I may. Give me 1 second, and I'll find it.
And we got some comments. We got Larry Becker saying, "Oh, cool! I got my top fan badge here in the chat. #fanboy." So.
You are a top fan, Larry, and you'll always be.
And Rose is saying, I enjoy my Sigma lens 17 to 70, great for portraits. It also has a macro element. And then we have Dave Williams in here in the chat.
Hello, Dave. Hello. Good evening, Dave.
Yeah.
All right, I have a shot on screen. I'm going to open it full screen. Hold on. Let's make it bigger. 1 second. Let me show you this. All right, here's an 11, and let me show you. Now, I didn't do anything special here. Platypod, on the ground, 11 millimeters. But here's what's so magical about this lens. That is only 12 feet. There's only 4 pews in this church. That's from the back of the church. It only has 4 rows. Count them, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. It is not. So it is epic. Just about as deep as this grid set is. It is a tiny, tiny, beautiful church. It's inside a children's hospital in London. It's called St. Christopher's. And if I were to step back a foot, I'm out of the church. Wow. It's just 4 rows. That's what is magical about the 11. And you're not seeing all of it. I think there's more.
Yeah, it just makes everything
look at that.
Epic.
Look at that.
When you're close like that, when you've got a subject that's very detailed, very close to the
frame. It's great for that. Look how deep this is, like the depth of you're getting the ceiling. Look at that.
The columns all the way up there.
This is why you want that 11. So it shouldn't be hard to shoot. You need to absolutely positively put it on a tripod, in which case now there's no weight because your tripod's holding the weight. Number 2, and I'm going to guess you're just not shooting the appropriate thing. Like you're not shooting.
Like you wouldn't shoot the 11. You wouldn't shoot at 11 for landscape.
No, at 11 you'd be like, wow, those mountains are way back there.
The mountains look like hills. Yeah.
It's just like if we wanted the mountains to be big, we would use the compression of a long lens. If you want the mountains to be far away, you would use a wide lens, and it pushes those mountains miles away. So I think that's what it is. Dave says, have you tried the 11-24 on the Canon mirrorless with the drop-in ND filter? So Dale, we haven't gotten a chance to see the drop-in ND filter. Well, we saw it.
We did.
We
see
did
it.
not
we
get
did
to use
out
it
there. Yeah,
it's not available out there yet, and I'm sure somebody probably got to use it. Not us. They were like, oh no. But anyway, no, we didn't get a chance to use that at all. But from what I understand, it
Sounds
works very
awesome.
well. I mean, it's like they showed it, they demoed it. We're like, ooh, do we get one of those? They're like, no. So anyway, other lenses. Well, let's talk about this one.
Yes.
This lens.
Well, that's a 200 to 400.
This lens is heavy.
Very heavy.
Very heavy. You gotta curl it.
And then some of them have the built-in teleconverter.
Yeah. So
that
this
one does.
This one has a built-in 1.4 teleconverter. So this is a 200 to 400 with a built-in tele. It is made for wildlife, and it is made for sports, and it is made
Maybe
for
birds.
doctors, anesthesiologists, lawyers, and Wall Street hedge fund managers. Look up the price, Eric.
I'm gonna say $12,000.
I think
but here,
$11,000 to $12,000 sounds about right.
Let me do it.
Yes, I bought it. Canon didn't give it to me.
$11,000.
$11,000.
It's come down in price a little bit.
It has come down in price a little bit, so it's about the cost of a car. But if you make your living shooting sports, or you're a pro sports shooter or something like that, or you're retired and this is your thing and that's what you want to, it holds its value like mad.
Yeah.
Long lenses are worth, look at this slow pan.
Look at that. 200 to 400
dun, 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 dun,
with the
dun.
telly. Magic. And then you could even put this on here and get crazy.
Anyway, any other? Oh,
So we've got another one. This is you want really shallow depth of field, portrait kind of work.
wedding. If you're a wedding photographer, get this lens right here.
This is it. This is the magic lens.
But I want to talk about this as another one. This is the Canon 85 1.2.
Yes.
Now, it's expensive. Get us a price, Eric.
It is heavy.
It's heavy and it's expensive. Do you need the 1.2? Because I can tell you something. When you're shooting a 1.2, your camera technique and your hand holding better be on the money.
$19.99, $2,000.
All right. Here's what I'm going to say. So that's the 1.2. What's the 85 1.4? I don't think Canon makes a 1.4. I think they make a 1.8. Nikon makes a 1.4. Right?
1.4 is $15.99.
So $15.99. So Canon does make a
And the 1.8, 1.8.
Here we go.
$369.
$369 for the 1.8. Which one should you get?
The 369.
Get the 385.
Unless caveat, unless you're like banking it, making the money.
Oh
off
yeah,
the weddings.
yeah.
Go
If
for
you're
that.
like, yeah. But I'm telling you what, these lighter lenses, that the people that would be able to tell you between a 1.4 and a 1.8. I used to do this in my old seminar tour, my Shoot Like a Pro tour. I brought up a picture taken with a 1.4 and one taken with a 1.8. I put them side by side and said which one is which. Nobody could tell you, and it was $1,100 difference. Now the Nikon is $495. The Nikon 1.8. Don't buy their 1.4. It's $1,100 on the Nikon to go between 1.4 and 1.8.
But what that's it's giving you at that, you're at that 1.8, 1. Like you just said, you can't tell the difference. And really, honestly, all you're doing is getting a really, really crazy shallow depth of field.
Right.
Yeah.
And would you be able to tell the difference between a 1.4? The 1.2 I'm worried about because you've got to be your focus and your camera, and it uses a different technique for focusing than other lenses. Because with other lenses, we lock our focus on someone's eye and recompose. With these super shallow depth of fields, you have to think ahead. You got to compose and then move the little dot over their eye, and then fire. to not get a messed up depth of field, because I cannot tell you how many people have bought a 1.2 or a 1.4 and write me and say I can't get a shot in focus because they're doing it wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could focus on the bridge of the nose versus the eye, and you're completely
it's
out
out.
of focus.
Yeah, it's like
eye.
yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we have run out of time for this fabulous episode, and I do mean fabulous. Let me make sure that we covered everything that we were supposed to cover. Yes, we did. Now, Erik and I will be in Innsbruck, Austria. If you are there and you want to come and party with us, Saturday morning, we still have a couple spots left. Go to worldwidephodowalk.com and just say, hey, I'm going to party with you guys in Innsbruck this weekend. And we're like, yeah.
Why not?
Then by party, I mean we're going to walk around and then go to not a bar, a restaurant.
Bar.
Right?
Yeah.
Right, Erik? Restaurant.
Yeah, something. We'll go somewhere.
Anyway, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Keep an eye on my blog and on social media on Saturday. We'll be sharing all kinds of fun stuff. And on behalf of my crew, Steve, who was on the jib today, and I might add, did a fairly reasonable job. Christina, who always does an awesome job moderating your stuff. Look, I'm going to hide behind the lens. Oh, no, it's this way. Now it's just my eyes.
Jib.
And Jason, directing like a boss. Who else is working? Ron on the streaming.
Yep.
And Juan just being nearby and sending his love.
7,200.
We'll see you guys next week right here. Where, Erik?
On the grid.
Yeah, sure. Why not?